Let's understand the concept of annuities. Very, very important. Let's understand. A very simple example of annuity is, let us say a person has retired and they've been saving a lot of money on a regular basis in their super. I hope you understand the concept of super, right? You save certain amount of money every month out of your paycheck, and that money then gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the end of your retirement, once you retire, at the end of your working life, when you retire, you get a chunk of money back from super, so that you can easily live your retirement life. You can meet your expenses. Now let's say John, for the sake of it, got $1 million from his super fund after retirement. What John does is that John goes to a bank and deposits this $1 million into its transaction account. And he starts spending his money because now he's retired, he's sort of spending his money as and when it is required. So at the end of first year, John did some lavish expenses and he ended up spending $100,000, and his balance in this bank account is 900K. So that the moment he sees his yearly statement, he says, oh, looks like I have spent 100K. Yeah, in a year. If I go with this pace, probably I'll end up finishing all my money in few years. And then I will have nothing to rely on for my retirement. Now, how do I meet my daily expenses? With this 900K in hand, he approaches another bank, let's say, Bank B, for the ease of understanding. He could have gone to Bank A as well, but let's say he's gone to Bank B now. And he tells Bank B that, guys, I have 900K with me still, which is still a decent amount of money. And I want you to lock this money. Lock it. But I still need something on a monthly basis. In this scenario, let's say monthly basis, to at least at least live my living expenses, right? Live my life. So bank says, okay, let's do one thing. Tell us how much monthly expenses, if you were to live a modest life, you need. John says, okay, I need $5,000 per month to live my life comfortably, but I don't want this 900K to just finish like that the way I've been crazily spending. I want to save that. I want to get it out of my sight. So bank says, all right, John, what we do is we can give you something called an investment, which is called annuity. What it does is that it's going to lock your money. This 900,000, this 900K, for a certain amount of time. You tell us how much time do you want this money to be locked? And John says, let's say lock it for 10 years. So time is 10. But I still need 5,000 every month. So what bank says that, okay, since you are locking this money for 10 years, which is a decent amount of time, In your transaction account with Bank A, you are hardly getting 1% per annum. Hardly. You don't even get that these days. What we are going to do is we are going to give you, and I change the color of my pen, we are going to give you 10% per annum if you commit 10 years with us with that amount. Wow, that is a deal. He gets a rocker, 10% per annum. But John says, hang on, I still need this money, $5,000 still. If you lock that money in, how will I, live my life? So bank says this is where the annuity investment comes into place. So bank will give John a rate of interest of $10,000, 10% per annum, but will also pay 5,000 per month to John, which will be money out of his 900K. So what bank is going to do is bank is going to lock this 900K, yes and no. It's going to give him high rate of interest, and out of the interest that he's earning from this money, he's going to get $5,000 every month for next 10 years till the time his all 900K is reduced to $0. So what he's done here, John, is he safeguarded his next 10 years by still generating a regular income for himself without exploding the money the way he was doing it earlier. And with that deal, he ended up earning 10% a year, which he was actually, in his transaction amount, it was just 1%. So, what is annuity? Annuity is an investment that you do with the bank, which promises you a certain amount of time at regular intervals. Some money, that is called the D, that you get. You remember the reducing balance loan? You remember the reducing balance loan where you were paying installment and that was the D and that was getting reduced from your balance to make it zero. This is the other way around. This is an investment. You went to the bank and now bank is paying you this D. And what are you getting? You're getting R. R is 1 plus R over 100 times P. So what is the final recurrence relation in this scenario for John? He had 900K as a starting point. And his money is going to follow this recurrence rule, which is R times Vn minus D. What is R? R is 1 plus, he was promised 10% over 100, and it was a monthly payment times 12. So eventually, this turns out to be his recurrence relation, and his D value is $5,000. Am I making sense? So this is how he earned more money by locking in his money. He safeguarded his money from splurging by doing random expenses, generated the amount of income he wanted to live his life happily for next 10 years, and eventually consumed all 900K. So at the end of 10 years, bank is left $0 in his annuity, but he ended up paying himself a regular income stream. Am I clear? What is annuity in its very, very simplistic terms? Everyone, all good?